I swing this hammer so hard that the whole world is starting to look nail-shaped. I've got swords inside swords, like Exhibit gave them to me. Way I ring this bell has people wishing I'd just leave a voicemail. I am stuffed to the gills with that old Yarnum blood. I am literally becoming a fish. I've got so much old blood in me that I've started having a period. Happy Pride Month. They asked me to donate blood at the church, but my blood type is centipedes. I signed an NDA in a nightmare because these visions are too fucked up. There are parasites inside my brain. They said I wasn't supposed to use a shield. Then why did God give it to me? 30 FPS has got my movements cut in half. I can't feel my legs anymore, and that's lore. I drink so much blue elixir that I can't even see myself. This vaccine's got me so fucked up, I'm injecting prostitute blood directly into my veins to feel anything. They found a big slug underground and gave me its blood, and now I hunt werewolves. I smoked a pound of DMT and got lost in a dream a god had about miscarriages. I'm about this shit. I play sword and board in Bloodborne. Shorty twerked on my face and I could smell uterine lining. I know her cycle now. I lost the keys to my whip, so now little goblins transport me everywhere. I quit my job at the sausage factory when they started injecting pigs with the divine essence. My stench is so revolting I can't get a date in Hemwick Charnel Lane. I smell like the moon. My ops are so shifty that they actually transform. Had to file the serial number off this Kirk hammer. This shit is not street legal. The government came for my guns and I said, well, what the fuck? You're the one I got it from. I bought those little goblins a hat. The only friend that I've made keeps a mop bucket on top of his head so that he doesn't have to hear the voices anymore. I just had to deworm the most fucked up horse. I'm killing people. I'm a murderer. I'm beating people so bad that I've been cut off from the natural timeline. This shit ain't nothing to me, man. The whole world is frozen in the last glimpse of my killing gaze. I sit down and just think about my life choices. There is only one bird in this entire world that isn't trying to fuck with me. I came back down from an old blood cocktail binge that was so intense that when I finally woke up, I was a different shade of red. It looks like they gave me my backstabs back. Okay, I'm out. I'm out. I can't keep that up forever. For the entire duration of this video. Are you insane? Whew. A little Yarnum flow. A little Good Hunter flow. Y'all know I love Bloodborne. I love it so much. And there's a lot of weapons in Elden Ring that really got me thinking about, how close they resemble Bloodborne weapons. And two of my favorite Bloodborne weapons are the Kirk Hammer and Ludwig's Holy Blade, both of which are long swords that transform into, bigger things, either a big hammer or a big sword. I love those things a lot. But they don't have no backstabs in Bloodborne. Well, they do, but not like this. you know. Anyway, my name is Saint Riot, and I play Elden Ring, and I make builds in Elden Ring, and then I go invade other players with my builds. And YouTube said that you liked that sort of thing, and so they're showing it to you. And, yeah, anybody who knows me knows that I love Bloodborne. Absolutely one of my favorite games ever. Which is nice because I didn't think I was going to like it that much when it came out. I was just looking forward to the eventual Dark Souls 3 that I was hoping would happen. It wasn't confirmed yet. But I got a PlayStation 4 and I said, well, I might as well, you know, play Bloodborne. I got the box that plays it. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Which, you know, taught me a lesson about not judging a book by its cover. So, I've been doing invasions for a long time. When you do invasions, obviously you're going to get better at doing PvP and stuff, and you get better at navigating menus, as you see me swapping through these talismans here. I had my talismans all set up so that I could make the absolute most out of the jar cannon right there. Which, by the way, there's a cannon in Bloodborne. It's called the church cannon. There's actually two. But I said, you know, I get better at the game. And, you know, sometimes you find yourself in a situation where you need to swap some equipment around. And so I always, you know, we call them hard swaps, when you just open up your menu and you swap from one weapon to a different weapon. And I thought, well, what about the soft swaps, you know? Keeping a weapon in your second slot and then just swapping to it. I wonder if I could do anything fun with that. And it kind of got me thinking about Bloodborne and how trick weapons, that's kind of like what they do. You know, it's a very crude version of it, because the Bloodborne trick weapons are so slick. They're so slick with the transitions. They're smooth. And, you know, I love that. But, you know, the closest I can get is just having a sword in one slot and then a big hammer in the second. Or a sword in one slot and then a bigger sword in the second slot. And so I thought, I'm going to make a build around that. And so that's what I have done right here. I got the Lord Sworn Straight Sword, and I've got the Giant Crusher, is what they call it. I also used the Brick Hammer as well a little bit. And then for the swords, I've got the Watchdog Great Sword, which is, you know, that's like the strength one. And this build, I started off with the class Hero, because I was thinking I would put some points into Arcane so that I could have some bleed-infused weapons. But then the dang Giant Crusher requires 60 strength. So I was thinking, okay, this will be a strength build and an Arcane build. But the problem is since I'm soft-swapping, sometimes I'm just one-handing a weapon. And if I'm one-handing the Giant Crusher and I don't have 60 strength, I can't use it. So I was like, I don't have any stats for Arcane. I mean, I could, but I'd have to, like, level up a little bit more, which I still might do. This build is currently at level 90. 93, actually. But I thought, okay, well, instead of doing that, I'll just take my strength up to 60 so that I can one-hand the Giant Crusher, and I won't put any into Arcane. But since I started Hero, that means if I level up Dex at all, anything past, like, 11 Dex, then I've got not the most efficient starting class, right? So if I want Hero to be the most efficient starting class, I can't level up my Dex past 10 or 11. It might be 11. I leveled it up once. I went from 9 Dex to 10 and stayed Hero. And so now we've got this 60 strength at level 90 build. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Now, a lot of people, I like my fashion on this build a lot. It looks Bloodborne-y to me. I dig it. But a lot of people ask me when they see this build, if I'm streaming, and they you know, they're like, well, you don't have a lot of poise. I don't have hardly any. I think I've got like 21 or 29 poise, something like that. It's either right at the end of the 20s or right at the start of the 20s. But I want you to look at my opponent right there, how he just poised through my hammer, even though he's not wearing really poisey stuff. His helmet is poisey, and he might have some poisey pants on, but like, he's not wearing Bull Goat's chest piece or nothing like that. He's wearing some robes. And the reason he can get away with that, and the reason I can get away with it, is because we're using these big hammers. And the bigger a weapon is in these games, typically, the more hyper armor it'll generate. Watch this. So he just charged a heavy attack. I hit him with a running heavy attack, and I wasn't able to interrupt him. Right? And this is somebody, if he was wearing full bull goats, you wouldn't think twice about something like that. But because he's wearing robes, you might look at that and be like, God dang. And that's what I'm saying. These big hammers, big colossal weapons like this, they generate so much hyper armor that they don't need a lot of poise to get through stuff. So I switched from the brick hammer to the giant crusher, and now I'm interrupting him, right? Now I'm using a colossal weapon, and that's going to interrupt him more than the great hammer was. The brick hammer was not going to interrupt him as much. But yeah, this thing has a ton of hyper armor, and if you don't believe me, check this out right here. I'm getting flashbacks. Oh God, the visions are coming back. I have to kill. Sorry, but that's the sort of thing that that's what we're talking about right here. Okay? That's the sort of thing that we're going to see. Despite the fact that I don't have a ton of poise, we're able to hyper armor through quite a bit of stuff. And I hope that you look at this build, I hope you look at these clips, and I hope you say to yourself, I like this. Because boy, have I got a lot of it to show you. In the next few weeks leading up to the Shadow of the Erd Tree dropping, I've got so many videos I can make because I've got so many clips of this build. I absolutely love it. Here we see that Shamshir moveset. I think this is actually the scimitar that my opponent is using though. But this guy, he's got the spear and then the fast curved sword. And I'm over here with this Lord Sworn straight sword. And I'm just giving him the business. It's almost hilarious. These people, they sit around in Discord and they practice on each other using meta setups, and then the moment they run into something that's not that, they kind of just choke. And that's one of the funniest things that can happen when I'm playing. I think straight swords are pretty good, honestly. Now, obviously power stance straight swords are really good. But I think even just one straight sword's pretty good. I think it's a little underrated. But I want it to stay that way. There's so much stuff that's better that you can't fault people for not using it, for not trying, right? I love straight swords. I didn't like how in Dark Souls 3, everybody I ran into was using a straight sword. It's like, that's my thing. Get your own. You know what I mean? They were just using it because they were good. I'm just using it because that's the shit I like. We aren't the same. So anyway, I really like this build, and I got a ton of really funny clips that I can make a whole bunch of videos out of, and I'm going to. It's January the 1st as I record this. I imagine it'll be January 7th or sometime around there. It'll be in the second week, January. God damn, it's June, you idiot. Anyway, it's June 1st right now. I imagine it'll be in the second week of June when these videos start coming up on people's YouTube channels to watch. And I've got a bunch, and that'll probably be enough videos to carry us into the Shadow of the Erd Tree. Here's the build. My weapons are at plus 17. These are the weapons I wanted to use. You might say, hey, what about the whirligig saw? That's like the pizza cutter in Bloodborne. And it is. It just requires too much dex for me to use. I have to use a damn talisman swap to even use the jar cannon. Okay? Giza Wheel's like 18 dex. Here's the stats. Here's the stuff. Started off as hero. I accidentally forgot to take a starting gift. That was my bad. Anyway, yeah. What was I talking about? Oh, if you want to do a build like this, you know, switch it up a little bit. You don't have to rip it off 100%. Pick a different starting class. Give yourself some dex. Use the Giza Wheel. Or use the Mantis Blades, like they're a saw cleaver or something, you know? This is just how I did it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, and until next time, later, y'all.